tell you to do that. Let's go.
Uno, like the block card.
So,
That's what
Hap,
we threw
you've already said enough on the broadcast today. No potty mouthing today. Let's go with our map bans.
Hap on the map.
Villa!
It is Villa. That's again the map they played the last time around.
Yeah.
However, it's a different secret, Fluke, so it's hard to tell whether or not we're going to get a 7-4 again in favor of Tempra. Because the last time they played, it was a 7-4 for Tempra on Villa.
Hard to tell for you, Fluke?
Yeah, well, I will say the difference maker here is that now Secret get the choice of whether they start on attack or defense. Started on attack last time round because Tempra wanted to start on the defense. You had Chaoxis go big. Secret only really got a little bit of a taste on their attack on their other half. So, hey, let's see how it goes.
Let's toss it over to our casters. Jessica, I choose you!
He did it! He did it, Jess!
He did it.
It took him so long.
Oh my god,
and
look at the smile on your face after
I'm so
that.
happy. So happy because the energy behind it as well is what's becoming of this game. Tempra versus Secret. Man, a few weeks back, if we looked at this fixture, saw these two teams, we would have said, man, this is a scrap for 9th place. But Secret currently sit top 4 and top 5 when you look at the overall standings as well as stage 2. They have had a transformational season, and Tempra are the ones currently fighting to avoid that relegation spot in 9th place. Of course, they do get to play for the spot, but they are in serious danger of that now alongside Rogue, who lost their game earlier. It leaves it all down to the final Playday if they lose here against Secret, whereas Secret most definitely want to guarantee themselves a spot at the major at the end of this season.
Alrighty, let's throw ourselves headfirst into this ban phase. And the good thing about the ban phase, for the most part, is that Secret, especially with their attacking bans, like to take away an operator that the other team favors in some way, shape, or form. Nomad's a pretty default ban. I don't even think she's that strong on Villa, Des. I think for the most part, you're able to shoot a lot of those air jabs and a lot of the flanks anyway. So maybe it was just an operator they had seen the other team play.
Oh, well, think about it, Jess. Who plays it all the time on the other side? Begins with C.
Begins with C. You're putting me under pressure here.
It's all he plays on the attack. That and the line sometimes you see get brought up,
Yeah,
but Nomad and line is basically all that he plays. So it is 100% a target ban against them. It was a big operator they played last time round. They played on Villa. In fact, in both of their last 2 games, they played against Vitality twice. That was pretty much the exclusive attacking operator coming up for Chaoxis.
Yeah, I've seen him play it on. I feel like I've seen him play it on Consulate, but that's just like a given when you play that map. So of course you don't try and put too much stock into it. But I think now, as we go into the first round, Secret getting to start on defense, this probably actually gives them quite a leg up. You spoke about the lion and you've spoken it into existence. That might be a 6 pick. They might just flash that and give them a little bit of a fear-driven first round, but he has used it before, so I can see him sticking that one out. And no 6 picks from either side of the coin or either side of team here. So I'm happy. I'm happy about this. Aviator first. Let's go.
When I first got into Siege, I remember watching one of your streams, interestingly. You were the first stiff personality I chose to watch. What a bad choice that was to kick things off. I remember watching you doing a VOD review of a bank game, and you were proper screwing about 2 teams not using a 6 pick in their first round, and I was like, okay, 6 pick, really important, and to this day, I really remember it, and it stands by me. So thank you for terrifying my memory enough that I remember that very traumatic sentence coming out of your mouth, Jess.
I think it's a freebie. It's a free mechanic that we have during the operator selection phase. It doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to really exert any other, energy other than holding down mouse 1 and ripping open that 6 pick. So for the most part, a lot of teams can just get away with at least flashing an operator, forcing them to maybe even change one of their operators out of a comfort pick. Who knows? And this setup, top floor here, I'm glad that we're getting this pointed out by our observer. This time Secret have decided 2 shields in the play. Are they going to do a doubles hit here? No. Okay, so now they're going to rotate that shield out. That's probably a better play because the meta isn't to have 2 shields there. The meta is to usually have 1 and then play that 1 person top main. And that second shield there is actually quite good. That means no one can just run into Aviator and plant behind Vault.
Now, not that it matters to any of our EU audience, but Jess and I cast 2 games yesterday in APAC, and what were those maps? Both of them were Villa. We have seen a lot of Villa in the last 24 hours, and that seems to be slowing down absolutely not at all. In fact, I think yesterday we saw 5 maps of Villa, was it? And one as the 5th map wasn't on Villa. we've seen a lot of it either way. So I'm really keen to see how the development goes here. A bit of a change between regions as well. You recall a couple of rounds we had Fnatic bursting their way up those main stairs, and with the shield still being in place, the player that would have been holding there was picked off pretty cleanly and easily. So I'm keen to see if there is any aggression from Tempra starting off down there. Got to touch on Chaos being on this line, though. I have zero doubt that the staff behind the scenes at Secret have looked at this and gone, right, he plays Nomad. If we ban that away from him, what is he going to play? It's pretty much guaranteed to be the line for the entire attacking half. They must have a plan in mind for this, and I'm keen to see how they adapt to it as the round goes by.
A lot of people might turn around and say, yeah, you've got mute, you could play around with mute jammers, but for the most part, that's very finicky. You're not always going to be standing where a mute jammer is. That's not a very viable strategy in counter to a line. So for the most part, your best opportunity is to just try and play against it, have crossfires in play, and be ready to trade when you need to. Yellow Ping 2.0 comes out. And Dirtsa actually doesn't capitalize on it just yet. And there we go. This is what I meant about the crossfires. You're making sure that you're there to trade your teammate if that EE1D does end up popping. And well, I've spoken it into existence again.
Instant trade coming out from Shate at least, so good collective play coming out of Secret. And let's have a look at the number of drones that have come down so far for the side of Tempra. 3 remain with 60 seconds to play. And you know what, I love talking about the information game here in Siege. So I'm thinking for Tempra, you're relying quite a lot on these scans coming out as yet another one comes singing through. P4 goes down. That's not really how a scan is meant to work normally, I'd imagine. But Prano's going to bring down P4, a player who we talk about a lot, had a terrible stage 1, has improved a little here into stage 2, but still not quite enough to keep Tempra's fortunes on the rise.
Well, they're losing a lot of time here. Tempra is stalling out. We know that they're very bad with their time management for the most part, and now they're just hoping that Secret peek them. That's not the play anymore. Last EE1D sings out, and this is the entry. That's what they needed, and well, that's what they've got.
Well, Shate's looking completely the wrong way and gets shot straight in the back, but there are a couple of players, one inside the vault, one inside of the other site, and that's one more going down. Shinka's in a spot where he can try and go for a plant here. They've got about 10 seconds to go, so this is going to turn into a temporary 1 versus 2. In fact, no, it's a permanent 1 versus 2, with Patwell finding another, and the swing out from Prano down towards top main is going to catch another onto Voy. Secret with a pretty decisive first round, and I agree with you, for Tempra, that time, again, is a big issue. It was exactly the same against Na'Vi on Club. They won 2 rounds. Both of them came down to planting as we hit 0 on the clock and came down to some crazy post-plant wins in order to turn the round around.
You know, without that smoke, they actually could have got that plant off. And they were in a really good position to have good post-plant positions as well. Study control was in their hands. So I think that one smoke, babe, actually saved the defenders there from being in a post-plant situation, of which is exponentially harder to clutch up when you've got, you know, that 30-second timer ringing in your ears consistently. So now for Secret, they're very lucky that they played that out very, very cautiously to the end. That plant denial was probably key for them. Move over to the other top floor side. And this is pretty much how it always goes. If a team doesn't favor kitchen, if they move over to the other top floor site, it just is the natural flow of the sites. It seems to be how teams prefer to go about it for the most part. And if you're Tempra right now, looking back at that round, the biggest mistake there from them was, I would say that there was about 2 wasted EE1Ds, of which you can make really good use of if you do them properly. And furthermore, I think that the crossfiring from Secret was probably too strong and something that they weren't considering when they were trying to engage with the defenders. So a couple of things to fix up going into this round where, oh, I like that. That's an easy drone, but I like it.
But I give a nod towards that initial trade play coming out of Secret, as well as later on in the round, the fact that Prano could just hover around the bottom of 90 and just constantly swing around and cause chaos without really ever being isolated by Tempra. Just goes to show that even with a Lion inside, who you would normally expect to be used to punish those that are on the roam, get them in a room by themselves, they either sit still and get yellow pinged and die, or they run and get scanned out by the Lion. It's a lose-lose situation. It's why historically some teams have ran things like the Lion with the Decay being combo, because it's almost impossible to stay alive as a roamer in that instance. But here for Tempra, as much as they absolutely love relying on it, I can't say it strikes me as a massive signature high-impact operator for them. I'm not sure if it's just a comfort thing for Chaoxis, but I never think about him on this operator and think, God, you've got to be terrified of that line. We've never really seen teams ban it away against them.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's not the scary version of Lion it once used to be, and for the most part, it hasn't really given them much back at first round, however, so we'll see how they use it in future rounds. Maybe there's an intended purpose that we're not seeing yet. It does have a very good weapon. And again, Ping 2.0. I feel like Tempra are pretty good with their drones when it comes to the Ping 2.0, for example. I wouldn't say they're the best coordinated team. I wouldn't say they're best with time either, but something that they do have going for them is that when they do have a drone in a good position, the Ping 2.0, the yellow ping, has been something they've abused to the best of their ability.
Sometimes that's about it. It's playing the game in its state to the best of your capability and making good use of those pings, as we've seen so much the last few weeks, is an absolutely an essential part of it. The secret now, they are down this one man. It's not the end of the world. We've seen what they can do in these situations where last season they'd be experts at throwing away a 5 versus 4 lead. Here they're on the other end of it, so let's see if they have the ability to swing things back the other way. P4 goes aggressive through Astro and is going to collect Hive, but a trade from Shate comes into Durza, the one who got the opening kill early in the round. A player that needs a bit of a nod. The last couple of Playdays, he has been a big reason for Tempra managing to drag points back with 3Ks and 4Ks in quite a good number of rounds. Always think back to a couple of the clutches that he has pulled off for the team to get them back to this spot. But now it's down to P4 on almost no HP, being the main man at the front here, looking to cause some damage. One shot and he's done. So you can call this a glorified 3v3 if you want, unless he manages to land a wonder shot here. He's going to swing around, can see the foot, but doesn't quite see the man himself. Down goes the Lion. He sees the gun. He's being teased from everywhere by Shate, but eventually steps too wide and P4 brings him down. A 3 versus 2, and out goes the Glare Shield, and this is the problem with being 1 HP. Draven collects the kill. This is a 2 versus 2 unless they can get Chaoxis back on his feet, and believe it or not, Tempra have actually got quite a lot of time to play with here. We're looking at 25 seconds still on the clock. C4 comes flying out, going to catch no one, I imagine. They're trying to finish off Chaoxis. Quite simply not going to happen. Draven challenging into Astro. Does he dare swing out? Yes, he will, as one tries to get him back up, but he doesn't know where they are. Almost collects him, but can't quite do it. And with that final call coming out, Chaoxis steps forwards, gets the kill onto Prano from the grave. Tempra will take round number 2. What a scrappy ending to round number 2, though.
Yeah, God, that was something that I was struggling to even keep up with in my own right. I thought to myself, okay, they've got, about 20 seconds left. They've got to pick someone up from Astro stairs. Can they do it? They've also got a lot of angles that they've opened up to be able to challenge, but also can be used back against them. Sloppy, but still a round in their hands. And the more rounds you can get on attack on Villa are very, very important. I mean, you look at what we got stage 2 stats here, because we've seen only 3 plays of it. It's about a 52% defensive rate. But if you go back to stage 1 of Villa and you go, okay, how defensive was it then? It was a 57% defensive rate for all of those 9 play days. So for the most part, it is a defensive sided map. And especially when you're looking at these 2 teams, I would say teams that haven't been able to show enormous speed on attack, that's something that's worrisome.
Interesting. With the castle being brought out as well, I believe on a bit of research earlier on that Tempra drew castle bans away from Vitality when they played last time. Clearly there was some play that Tempra brought out an awful lot when they were against them. Here, Secret are opting to bring it back against the side of Tempra, starting off with one at the top of Astro. And once again, we are going to see this closet play, normally with ADS being stacked in there. Some teams like to bring an Ella. We saw that an awful lot in APAC, playing behind those Grismots and looking to hold that shotgun in hand to challenge on the other side. I can't remember what team it was, but we did see one going for a double floor defense hold, if you remember, with the Alibi upstairs and the Ella on the downstairs. It's quite an interesting change.
But you talking about interesting, can I get a zoom up on Packball? Can you get a first person onto my man Packball, please? I want you to select this man. There we go. SG in hand. Unbelievable. When's the last time you saw this? I can't even remember the last time I've seen a Doc shotgun in any tier 1 play whatsoever. This is awesome.
I like it.
This is cool. Usually you see an Ella shotgun in there. This time it's a Doc, and guess what Doc gets to do? Keep beefing himself up no matter what comes raining through. Yep.
Absolutely. So it's more of a survivable alternative. Maybe you have less capability when they do actually come and push you. You haven't got the Grismots to play behind, but you should have a bit more staying power if they do eventually manage to weasel their way through all the ADSs and all the setup that you have present inside. It's all about wasting time. We keep on speaking about how time poor they've been at points. Tempra this is. But either way, with an opening kill once again, that's the second round in a row. We're going to see Tempra step into a 5 versus 4 quite early on.
Packball is being harassed left, right, and center. He'll even be able to stim up one of his teammates. These EE1Ds, for the most part, have been a waste. I can be absolutely certain on that. And now they're wasting a lot of utility onto him. They have bathroom control. Where's the rest of his team? No Crossfires assisting him, and the one that was meant to be had died originally. And this round has been gifted to Tempra now, Des.
Yikes.
Flawless.
Flawless comes out of seemingly nowhere as well. We sit there praising the defense. Oh, wow, it's a Doc shotgun. It's surrounded by utility. There's no way they can win this. And then bang. The time is over in like, what, a minute and a half? Rapid time coming out of Tempra and showing there is still a game to be played. That's 2 rounds for them on the attack. Secret no doubt sitting here already and thinking, still 3 rounds to go. We've given away 2 attacks already on the defensive side of Villa. This isn't really how we saw this one going, boys.
This looks really shaky for Secret. I mean, if you look at the standings as they've updated as this play day has gone on, Team Empire have overtaken them for 4th spot. They've moved down 1 spot. And if you look at the points, they're 1 point away from going back up to the top 4. Now, you could get a draw here and regain that point, and then it goes to head-to-heads, of course. And I think looking at it, depending on how many rounds they win, possibly Team Secret will be slightly against Team Empire, and then it would go to head-to-head, so on and so forth. So, and I think it's head-to-heads before round diff anymore, so it even gets more complicated. So for Secret here, they need the win. They need to just shoot themselves back up into the top 4. You've got to think about EU finals. You've got to think about the major. You've got to think about all those spots coming up that now that you're out, technically, I think out of all the teams here, most confidently we can say Team Secret would be out of contention for that other relegation spot. The next thing in their minds is got to be playing, okay, now major, now finals. What can we make of this?
I think either way you look at it, they're not absolutely guaranteed, I don't think, but they are pretty much guaranteed to be safe. It would require Vitality, Na'Vi, Rogue, and Tempra all winning next Playday, which truthfully, with a couple of games still to play today, is a possibility. But I think Secret are too good to lose both of these next 2 games, or not at least extract a point from one of them. But it would be really cruel, given how well they have played the second station, not rip something back in. Speaking of ripping in, this is a ripping play coming in for the side of Tempra, bursting straight into Study. They're in a spot to be able to contest on stairs here. I don't think Shantae knew they were above, and they're going to walk past and bypass both of these shields, straight into the bottom of 90 corridor, and Durs is going to pick up a kill back. So despite the opening kill going to Shantae, 2 kills have been traded back, and once more, Tempra have the numbers advantage.
Can you imagine having so many shields set up, so many magnets, so many ADSs, and Tempra says, yeah, but if I run past them, hear me out, then they don't do anything back to us. Haha, you die, you're not looking at us, sweet, easy clap. That looked way too easy for Tempra. It shouldn't have been that way. I don't know if Shantae was a little bit confused about the sound, but either way, that entry onto top main stairs, which is a power position, now it's in the hands of Tempra. A good round and a dangerous round here for Secret, because guess what? That'd be their 3rd loss on defense on Villa.
You know what Tempra are saying? These are the team, let's not forget, that on console that love to run the Amaru and go attacking from below. They're saying, guys, we don't need an Amaru to rush. 2 minutes 30, bam, straight into Study, straight into top main, kill people, go on to win the round. Or at least we haven't got yet to that final stage, but it is very reminiscent of the sort of aggressive play that we've seen come out of them of some rounds of Consulate. Other times they do play it much slower. At least here, the pace is staying high, and for a map like Villa, where there is a lot to do, I do not blame them. Draven catching out Durza, again, the player that I touched on earlier, who has been a key part of those aggressive plays at the start of rounds thus far, brings us down into a 3 versus 3, and we've been here before, Jess, admittedly up towards the north, a push from Astro coming into Trophy. So with a bit of a different site in play, this could go very differently for the side, well, for both sides, I guess, the Secret and for Tempra. Another call comes through, and Shinka has got straight into sight, despite Prano collecting that kill. He's in a spot to go for a plant, but Voya's got to do all the covery work for them here. He's going to flank around and look to hold on Trophy doorway with 2 trying to push it from there. That would have been the right call, but the plant is going down inside of the bar, and somehow Tempra have got away with that. Hive comes down to Study, collects 1. It's a 3 versus 1. Shinka all alone, tucked in the corner, helped out by a Claymore. It's a Guardian Angel in this case, but knows it could be coming from any angle at any time. The swing should come in at the same time here. 1 from either direction. He tries to challenge 1, but guess what? Draven's a little bit too good. It will be Secret taking their 2nd round of the match. Still down, of course, at 2 apiece. But either way, a round on the board is a round on the board.
That was the first time I felt confident seeing that EE1D go off and saying that they had used it to their advantage. And even though they had used it to their advantage, they were down so many numbers that it actually didn't really matter. They need to have either gained access to site, then pop it as the plant is going down to buy them time for the planter. Because Voy can't watch every angle. You saw him. He was trying to watch across to the study door, or from study door over towards landing. He was trying to watch the vault crossover. There's way too many rotations to watch when you're trying to cover that many angles and that many players still alive on the defense. So I feel for Voy. I understood what he was trying to do, but the defenders played that well as well. They made sure that they pinched. They made sure that they weren't taking 1v1s. I think Secret are a great team for teamwork. If you want to watch a team that is highly coordinated, really looks like they know that their coordination coordination is a key part of both retakes and just team play as a whole. So it's exciting to see a team play this way, Des, and I'm happy that Secret got that off. They should have got that off, but we've often seen teams throw moments like that, so people forget that.
For a long time, I've been a bit of a Secret shill. A lot of it coming down to, again, the coordination we see in their attacking side. The defense at points, I'd say, lacked last season and even back into Challenger League Season 11 because of the aggression some teams showed. They just could not keep up with it. But I think over time that has been getting better, absolutely, in part due to the additions to the team that we've seen coming through in Chate especially, and Packball also joining them. On the defensive or on the attacking side still, we're seeing a lot of that coordination, which I'm really excited to see on the second half of the map. Again, the one thing I'll always stand up for them and say they've done really well this season is where we used to see them going into a 5 versus 4 and then throwing so many rounds away. This stage, they've got a lot better at finding that opening kill, retaining the lead, and going on to win a round. So who knows how the second half will go? As we always say, there are two halves to a game of Siege. It might turn out that Tempra are absolute beasts when it comes to the defense. So let's not write them off either yet.
Yeah.
All I know is, given the stakes that are at, well, the stakes that are at stake in this game, I guess is the best way to put it. This feels as close as can be already.
Well, looking over to Tempra and what have they played it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different times they've played it since June the 1st. Oh, good kill there, by the way. I'm gonna throw this in for you here. The 5 times they've played it, they have been predominantly defender-sided. So there you go.
Yes.
No problems.
It's like a really handy research assistant. Who also talks sense sometimes.
Oh no. Segue.
You basically cursed Rogue earlier.
No, we're not talking about that. We never talk about that.
I meant to quote tweet that. I forgot. I was going to quote tweet it and be
Nope.
like, man.
Nope.
First Penta, now Rogue. Who's next? Grim.
Wow. Got me good there. I love that.
Continue.
No, you're play-by-player now. Off you go. I'm
Fine.
throwing you in the
3
deep
versus
end.
2 for Tempra. The E1D still coming out the back of that one. But these long-range angles, it's the second or third time or across this game so far where they've come to these later round gunfights and just seem to be finding the heads. Last time was coming through Astro, looking in towards Trophy. Here downstairs, they're the ones who seem to have the know-how on where Secret are and seem to be better at taking those angles. Admittedly, bigger guns, better scopes, that's always going to happen. It's all about the time. Again, though, at 1 minute 20 remaining, Tempra have still got a lot of time to play for. So with how things are setting up here, they can breathe a little bit here. They want to peel back and get back on those drones. They've still got 4 left on side in 70 seconds to play. This is where I'd love to see communication and coordination coming out of them. 1 player on drones, or have 2 watching the angles as you go for the plant, as they were looking to try and do there. I think they're still trying to bait a C4 out. Out it comes, connects onto no one. They still have an impact left if they want to go for the Pokeball. They are going to try, but that's not going to down anyone, I'm afraid. Not enough damage. Kax with a second coming out. Draven, all by himself here, has got to pull off a miracle. Draven, sorry. Packful has got to pull off a miracle 1 versus 3. Somehow, Jess, I don't see it happening when there's 35 seconds on the clock in a post-plan situation, and they know exactly where he is playing. The cross angles are being held. They push through. Kaxis finds his second. That's 2 3v3s. Tempra have come out on top now, and that's the 3rd attacking round for them as well.
Yeah, this is looking really good here for Tempra. It kind of looked like they were playing with their food there. And the reason I used that analogy was that none of them went overzealous. They knew exactly where the last player was. It was a post-plant situation. And I think this is what they had attempted to do the round previous, but they just didn't have the numbers for it. This round, they had the numbers for it. And something that we didn't really get to see in the observation there was that whoever the planter was had gotten off the plant and baited out the C4. Now, a lot of teams are dying to smokes, dying to C4s because they refuse to bait. And I remember back in early 2019 in competitive play, that was a big conversation about teams not baiting out utility and dying to it when they're going for the plan, especially when they've got time to play with. Tempra had over 60 seconds to play with there. Of course they've got time to bait out the C4. And it's those little things that win you rounds and keep your number count in a safe area. So that was really cool to see. Tempra looking strong. Big thing, Des, is that Tempra's looking strong now here on attack. We'll see how they fare on defense as well, but they're looking strong when it counts. This is relegation territory we're in here for Tempra. Now, imagine they win this, and Empire won their game, so they've been moved up, and they're pretty safe. Team Secret lose theirs. Tempra would move up to 22 points. They would be tied with Empire. They would overtake Secret. They would be top 5. Uh-oh, Spaghetti-O.
Yeah, it's a big worry point for Secret. I remember saying after their 4 games, you literally got max points here. You called up a really good game against BDS. Like, the season's looking good. And then the last few, it slowly started to fall off the wagon again, which is so sad to say given how well they've played to date. But I think here against Tempra, the one thing to note is the only sites that have been won so far by Secret, or the only site, sorry, is Aviator and Games.
Yeah.
Trophy and Statue has been lost twice. Dining was lost just a second ago, and now we're going back to Trophy again. Now, admittedly, in the last setup, it didn't go too well when they started bleeding out members. It was a flawless round that came through in round number 3 for the side of Tempra. Here, I imagine there's a bit more of a conservative playstyle to bring out. We're not seeing the same setup as last time. That dock is not present. They are dialing things back a little bit and playing more, air quotes, normal Siege.
Yeah, stick to the meta that looks a little bit more turtle-like. That might help Secret delay the time. Tempra has been struggling with that time other than last round. So for the most part, that's something they might be able to manipulate a little bit. I look over to the stats here of Secret on Villa on defense, and Aviator is by far their favorite site to go to, and then of course second being Statue and Trophy. So they love the top floor. They're obviously confident for the most part, and they have a really, really good win rate, at least a 50% on both of those sites. So I think they're confident usually, but Tempra are just giving them something else here, and that's a good drone. Thank God Chaoxis had spotted that one out, because Dirtza, he might have gone down to that if he had pushed up to the shield.
Paying good attention and good time so far for them across every round that we've seen them attack onto. They definitely haven't been time sensitive for the vast majority of them. The first couple, maybe. But after that point, everything has looked far more in control for Tempra than it had done historically. This round we're down to that 1 minute 15 mark, and in a couple of the rounds so far, they have been threatening the sites at this point and looking to plant. Here, they've still got to deal with Patbull playing inside of Astro, who's playing behind the shield, and drone after drone is being committed in to try and get some information to feed across them, maybe try and get a yellow ping in. Not going to be the case as he's heard it out a couple of times here, but with the ADS still present, they're a bit stuck here, I think, Jess, and you've got to worry about the potential for Secret to even disrupt them in other areas as Prano comes on the rotate downstairs.
Hey, good shot from Sharte onto the head of P4. Does this EE1D pay dividends? Nope. It's just a lazy one thrown out for pretty much no reason. And that's a C4 below. This could do huge damage. If they step together, that's a double C4 if Pike times that correctly. But with 30 seconds left, they're going to have to brute force their way in. Now, boom!
There it is.
That's almost a double.
Almost a double, almost could be far more for them, but I think Tempra are falling apart at the seams here. Chaos is down to nothing. Good turn around to catch Parna, who's trying to come in behind him by the looks of it, but that C4 has done irreparable damage. They've managed to get him back up at the very least, but it's still down a member here for the side of Tempra. Chaos steps up again. How? He calls out the EE1D and gets another kill as it's just activating. Once again, we've already seen that a couple of times. It's almost like it's a magnet for Secret to come for the firefights, but Draven's going to find his second of the round, and now time is most definitely an issue. Voy is going to try his best. But Draven with the closing kill will give Secret their third round of the half. How dire it could have been if we'd gone into the second half with them down 4 rounds on their defensive side.
My confusion there for Tempra was the biggest power position they struggled with was the Astro Shield there. There was one ADS and I think maybe a magnet or so. One of those flashes was displaced, so there had to have been something there. And I wondered, after Chaoxis had drone below, why didn't they just take someone, jump in bicycle window, quickly swing, Ash charge below, boom, it's gone. You don't have to go up against the ADSs. And that might have been a little bit of a part of why that sort of stalled Secret out, or rather Tempra out exponentially, is because they're thinking quite one-dimensionally about how to deal with that position. And even once they had cooked off the ADS, and I don't even think they did, I think I only saw 2 flashes connect with it. They didn't even try and Ash charge the shield. So you can't say you're dealing with a problem and then only half commit to dealing with the problem. Last time we saw this exact setup that you're seeing Dirtza do here on main stairs, and that they just went around it. They, instead of trying to cook everything, they went around it. So that's a shaky end there for Tempra, but you end the half, Des, being 3 apiece. This looks really good for Tempra. I don't know what the stats are saying, but I'll check it out.
Need yet to see what happens in the second half with Secret going on to the attack. Maybe they've got some spicy stuff cooked up for us. And in case you're seeing the Iana for the first time on the side of Secret, well, you've been very blind for the last few weeks. This has been their go-to operator for Draven to play. He is one of the best frag players in the competition, I think it's fair to say at this point. The number of, well, days that he spent playing Buck, playing Sledge, and now playing Iana, he's just very, very used to having these frag grenades on hand. And because they're starting to bring the Sledge along, it does mean they're walking into a good number of rounds with 4 frags on side, with Hive here playing on the Sledge. So be looking out for those potentially coming out from below, but also be keeping an eye on what goes in when Prano, who's on the Ash here rather than the Sophia that we're used to seeing him on. It's interesting actually they're swapped. Normally Shate is the Ash player and Prano's the Sophia. Curious.
Do you think maybe because Secret are very aware that they need to win this, and Prano has for the most part been popping off, that he's just sort of
Yes.
said, yeah, let me just take this, or they've said, we need you to take this, and that's why that role change has come out.
I love how we say that, and then it's actually going to be Shate stepping in and getting the opening kill. But yes, because Shate has been on the Ashe for them pretty much all the time, and less so much for the entry role, I'd say, and more for the utility role that we know Ashe is now starting to play. But I think in this game, saying, right, give Prano the 3-speed, have him run around like an idiot for a while, see what he can do. Does get a kill onto Chaoxis, but instantly traded back out. Whereas I guess with Shate, it is going to slow him down a little bit. Won't see so many wasted trades coming out for him, or at least engagements that don't go favorably for him. More putting him behind the utility. I'm not saying it's the same level as what we saw happen to Joe on Na'Vi, but it's that same line of thinking, I think.
I think for the most part, a lot of the players who play Ashe can conversely play Zofia and vice versa. I don't think that's too much to throw Shate's way. He's a very, very knowledgeable and experienced player, so I don't think that would have been a detriment to him to move over to that. For Prano, however, he's been having a great season, especially this second stage, so why not give him the opportunity to really flaunt that skill? And we've got to also put a nod to the fact that, yeah, Ashe has flashes, has breaching charges, still has a lot of utility. So I think for the most part, I wouldn't say that she's necessarily being used as an entry. I would say that there's multiple ways that they're trying to use Ashe these days.
Well, to be dead honest with you, I asked someone, just a quick message, why is Prano and Ashe and Shate and Zofia? The simple answer wasn't anything magical. It was he wants to play what he wants to play Ashe.
He wants to play Ashe.
Okay,
there you go.
He wants to play Ashe for his forehead. Just give him the Ashe and let him run around. I mean, hey, it hasn't started out super strong. It is still a 3 versus 3. The number of times it's come down to the number 3 in this game. It's a 3-3 right now in terms of scoreline. It's 3 versus 3. There's 3 breaching charges left for Zofia. I have to keep on trying to draw 3s here. 3 deaths and 3 assists for Voya and keep on going all day long.
3 for Shinka as well. They're all hitting the 3 dubs here. It's almost like
3 canisters left. Boy needs to find his 3k in this round. It's the second coming out as well. It does put it into a 3 versus 2, and only 20 seconds left. Secret seemingly stalled out a little bit without Prano helping them lead the charge in. It should be a burst coming in. There comes the drone coming out. That's great for them to play for the trade as well. Admittedly, a trade to a drone isn't really a trade. It's more of just a freebie. A 2 versus 2. They've got 5 seconds to go. They're going to have to run through smoke here, and that's without knowing where the fights are coming through. Shinka down to almost nothing. In comes the push. Going to have to step up and spray, but can't find the closing kill. Tempra win by the clock, and Secret a little bit uncharacteristically slow there.
I wonder what stalled them out there. Was it because they lost some of their fraggers early on? They did manage to get the opening kill, so I would have thought, yeah, they now had that floor control. They had that side of the map control, and that's generally a power position when you're moving over towards 90, when you're trying to get those walls open. I think by the time they went through all of that droning and cleared that area, they noticed that they lost a little bit too much. And they tried to force their way in, and smokes are coming in clutch for both teams. That's something I really want to point out here, is that both teams have been able to use their smoke babes to really good effectiveness. I think some other teams in EUL are a little bit sloppy with the economy of their use of smoke babes. Both of these teams I've been seeing really good usage of it. It's really stalled a lot of the attackers out in the last dying seconds. That's probably the best way to use it.
Time for the curse site, I think. Trophy and statuary. Now, Secret did win the last. I won't take that away from them. They did win the 1. They lost the 2 prior. Tempra clearly showed they know how to deal with the setups on this site. I mean, 1 was a bit wonky, you might argue, coming out of Secret. It wasn't a conventional setup. They are bringing this castle along. And remember what I said earlier on as well. Vitality banned the castle away against Tempra in both of their games, both in EUL and in the French League. So here, I'm keen to see how they play around it and how many troubles it can cause for the side of Secret. I already know what they're going to do, actually. I've just seen it. So the fact that they've opened up this triple wall, at least on the bottom side, I think, and on the top side, actually. Normally you see some teams go with a castle barricade and put it on the right-hand window. Thank you very much, easy. And you then use that to play some rotations into Master. So that's where I think he's going to pop one of those down. There it goes right now. Perfect. Thank you very much, Dursa, for matching up with my timing.
I like it. I like it. I will go to my grave saying that in EUL, the first ever season of EUL, that Tempra come in from CL and have given us the most revitalized, refreshing, reinvigorating strats on multiple maps now that I've seen. I've seen them do it stage 1 on Coastline. I've seen them do stage 2 on Theme Park. And now that we're on Villa, I love it. They're not sticking to the conventional. They're not sticking to the meta. They're just jumping straight in and going, this is our flavor.
Point me to a team that runs line every single attacking round, and yeah. I think that would be fair to say that it's not so innovative, but for these guys, we always say they are the firecracker team. Sorry, they do bring out some crazy stuff like the Amarurs we've seen on attack, but it's not always the result that comes off the back of picking those innovative picks. But hey, can't blame a team for trying to learn and to try something different to try and gain an edge over their opposition. But here, now we're 60 seconds in, that edge is going to become a big deal. Let's see how long Seek can keep themselves going for, because for Tempra, well, that clock has been both for them and against them, but I'd say definitely more against Secret in this matchup. The number of times Tempra had a lot of time left in the first half, and even in that last round, is a great example that they know how to run the clock down for Secret, and potentially with that castle on side, it's more of the same story.
I can't stress this enough. Secret need these attacking rounds. They need this matchup. They need these points. They can't risk Tempra getting them. And then next Playday, who are they up against next Playday? Let's have a look, because that is something that we probably need to point out here. Stage 2 as my...
What about Secret, sorry?
Yes, Secret. Who are they playing? Huh.
And Tempra have got G2.
Wow. So I think out of both of them, I would say Tempra desperately need this win because they've got a tough matchup coming up against G2. But you can't underestimate if they both... Well, let's say Tempra win this one, lose the next one, they're in trouble. Secret lose this one, win the next one, they're still in trouble too. It's still a bad situation either way. So this matchup is very important.
Righty. It all comes down to the final Playday. And I know that for some people, they look at a team and go, oh, well, they got relegated, but like 2 Playdays before it actually ended. Like, there's so much more still to play for here. As everyone has pointed out, we have, what, 7 teams all competing for a top 4 spot for the major? It's insane. It is so close, and every single game has an impact here. It doesn't feel like there are any empty games. Even Chaos versus Empire earlier was a great example of that. Either way, look at this. The opening kill at 25 seconds in is going to make for a very explosive ending, and sadly, those explosions look to be going the way, or at least sadly for Secret, those explosions look to be going the way of Tempra, as it's down to a 4 versus 2 in no time at all. Finally getting around to deal with that external facing castle barricade, and now starting to look at the side, but haven't dealt with the players holding towards the back. No problems at all for Tempra. They look very comfortable in that round, and Secret, again, a little bit slow.
I mean, let's be frank. If we go back in Tempra's history here on Villa, and I'd hate to throw it down to a map pick. I hate to be that, because you should be able to, if you're the better team, you should be able to edge your opponent out on any map, right? And that's up for debate, right? But you look back on it, they beat Team Secret on a 7-4 in stage 1. Then they tied with G2 on it. Then they 7-0'd Team Orbit in French League. The only time they've lost it was to Team Vitality, of which that was in French League. And then the next week, they tied with Team Vitality on that exact map. So if you're looking at Tempra, who is a bottom tier team in EUL, doing quite well on a particular map, in my mind, that's a map you get rid of. That's just naturally a reflex move that you go, this team, 1, likes to play it, and 2, clearly doesn't do too shabby on it, and against us has done pretty well before. Let's throw it out the door. So if Secret lose here to Tempra, who are 1 round away from confirming at least 1 point for this matchup, which is still huge, then I argue, given that the times run out on Secret here on attack multiple times, it's not been that Secret have been too bad per se, it's that Tempra are manipulating the heck out of them.
It makes it painful watching if you're a Secret fan, but one's of joy if you're a French fan here backing up Tempra, who, again, like Chaos, it seemed just a couple of weeks ago, were doomed to relegation. It was going to be a scrap between those two as to who got auto-relegated and who got to fight for their place. They got back together in their well, not really a boot camp. They got together to play in Paris, and we're like, okay, does this lead to a change? And I believe the first day we're together, they still lost. But since then, things have just looked up and things are getting better. We keep on touching on the points because it is such an important point. There's still so much potential for them here to still scrape their way away from that bottom spot and bring a team that 3 or 4 Playdays ago, like again, Na'Vi, Vitality, Empire, you never would have suggested could be in that bottom spot.
That's a really important point. Prano's decided to stick on the Ash. He stuck it out. You decide to ask whether or not it was a role change, and nope, it's just a decision change. Today, boys, I play Ash. None of this Sophia stuff for me anymore. And fair enough to him. He is playing a little bit more solo. Interestingly enough, we often praise him on his ability to be quite coordinated and I guess flush with his team regardless of the push, but I feel like he's been playing far more solo this particular matchup. Not to say that that's really caused some of these attacking losses, but it might have added to that a little bit.
That's this downstairs site, arguably the off-site, and the one that if you were Secret, you'd probably be saying, okay, this is the one we might struggle with. It isn't one of the primary sites. It's where we feel we might lose a couple of those gunfights, lose when it comes down to timing once again. Now, starting out on the top floor, the one thing I'm very cautious of, if there are any available, actually, did Chaos just bring along a C4? Or did he not bother? He did bring one, but he's already used it out, so hey, no problems there at all. Otherwise, it's down to those barbed wires, stopping those kind of dying second rushes coming out of Secret if they haven't done their homework. They have got themselves upstairs. They are starting to destroy this floor out, as you can hear from the sledges. That hammer swings back and forth, and that was a pre-placed C4, so he hadn't used it. It was pre-placed.
That was a really smart pre-placed one as well. It's a bit of a danger to use a pre-placed as well, because when the sledge obviously hits the roof, it'll fall down. Sometimes it can get destroyed as well. So you have to be really good on the timing of it. Prano, look at that 4 and 6. He actually hasn't had a really good game thus far, at least when it comes to KD. And KD isn't everything, but I also haven't felt the impact we usually feel from Prano. So I think that has been, he's usually the star player. We're not really seeing him step up. And if you look at the other players on Team Packful, he's also not stepping up either. So I think this is what we're seeing here. These 2 rounds deficit is because of some of those factors.
That's that 30-second mark again. They're still doing the work on the top floor. A couple of players are starting to square up on the downstairs, as we saw gathering outside the east side, looking to go for the push in and potentially look for that executing the plant just inside of the side doorway. With those pings coming out at the very least, is the ability to get rid of a couple of gadgets. The ADS is being taken out, so grenades can start singing in. But P4 once again, well, sorry, not P4, Tempra are just chilling, just waiting. They haven't got to go aggressive because the side of Secret are being held up and dealing with everything else. A great flash comes through, a swing comes in from Backpool. Down goes one. Void trace back onto Draven, who found a kill just prior, but does it evens things out again. 3 versus 2, Tempra looking to might be able to win 2. The clock plant is going down. Down goes one on the upstairs. Great from Hive there to catch the one on the top floor, and Backpool's going to get away with it. Just finally get shut down, but the vertical angle is there. This is a crucial 1v1 coming out for the side of Secret here. Durzer's on. Surely he knows. Hive, you've got to step forward. You've got to spray him down. You can see him going for it. Tempra win it. He was going for the reload. He should have been holding the angle. Clearly, no call came through. No sound came through to him. Completely missed it. And my God, that could be a round they look back on at the end of the season and go, that was our top 4 rounds. My God.
I'm sitting here with my hands on my forehead in pure disbelief. That is something that should not happen. That was your round through and through. Wow. That was like a Renton drop moment. That was like, that moment to me spells disaster here for Secret. They've propelled themselves into a situation now where they can only draw 1 measly point from this matchup, and it requires them to win 3 rounds in a row against a Tempra that has just manipulated the heck out of them from round 1. Secret, boys, this is not it.
Oof. Pain in italics, and then put it in bold as well. Do the
And
whole
then
shebang,
space
underline it if you
every
really want to.
letter. Yeah, like apart from each other.
All uppercase. It was one of those moments, and that isn't even a moment that you could put down to team misplay or bad time. I guess you could put it down to bad time management if you really wanted to, but it wasn't even coming down to the team issues. That was just either pure unluckiness that he didn't hear the diffuser going off, or there was something else at play. Either way, the call didn't come through, and the whiff shots most definitely don't help either. This puts Tempra now at 6 and 3. 1 more round, and 1, I'm pretty sure all of our predictions get shot in the face, and 2, Tempra are well on their way to saving this season. What a turnaround it's been since they got themselves back together in Paris.
Imagine all flying in, you hit your boot camp, full steam ahead, you don't do too well on the first day, but then the next day you just come out absolutely swinging. This French lineup, I don't know, you always ask them, what have they been feeding them? Well, now that they're in Paris, maybe it's just baguette after baguette, because that's exactly what this French lineup has been doing here, just eviscerating Secret. A really good Secret, mind you. If you're not aware as to who Secret is, well, their new lineup has been just dominating multiple team after multiple team, even all the way up to BDS, where they drew with BDS, didn't they? So, I mean, this is a pretty damn good team that Tempra are dismantling here.
They are a good team. There's just a few things that aren't quite clicking right, and I don't want to start feeling like I'm going back into last stage again, because those moments are traumatic enough as someone that wants to see Secret succeed and do well. But now it's down to the final round. We'll see if Tempra can hold fast here and try and deny them this aggression that's coming out. They do try and push in, but straight into a hail of bullets as well as a poisonous cloud coming out. That's going to be Shate down and out once again. I spoke earlier on around the aggression we normally see from him on something like the Ashe. Here it was Shate on the Zofia trying to make it happen. It's going to be not a clone pushing up from Draven, but actually Draven himself, and P4's got a 3k on the main stairs. That could spell disaster for Secret. That could be the game done and dusted. And given so many rounds have been slow, all this has happened inside the first 90 seconds, Jess.
Hey, when I said baguettes, I didn't mean feed them one by one by one, because that's what main stairs was just there. That's Tempra's territory. P4 says, that's mine, boys, and you can keep throwing bodies at me if you want, but I'm ready to take anything that comes at me. That round, or that moment right there, as well as that inability to be able to stop that diffuse last round, are the two moments of this particular matchup that Secret will look back on and say, this is where we lost it, boys.
Oh, man. Admittedly, with the plant in the last round, it did come down to literally the final second, because no sooner had the plant finish going down from Patbull that he was sprayed dead by two members of Tempra. So it was a close affair anyway. And some might argue it played out the way that it should have if they'd managed to catch him even a couple of milliseconds earlier on. But what happens now is we're in a situation where, again, Secret are a couple of kills away from losing against Tempra. Something that would have made sense 3 weeks ago, didn't make sense a week ago, and now suddenly starts to look like it might make sense, because Tempra are a team revitalized after their win against Rogue, their win against Chaos, now a win against Secret. That puts 3 on the board, and a draw coming out against the side of Empire. And even P4, a guy that we leverage a lot of criticism against for a really poor entry record last stage. 8-24 in the end, I think he was. -16. He's doing absolute work in this round with 4 kills for himself and gets the ace, my boy. That's the way you make yourself known. Tempra take it 7-3 against Secret here on Villa with some incredible plays. And they may, again, not have just saved their season, but are now propelling themselves towards a top spot finish.
What an ironic way to finish that matchup. P4 says, well, we dominated you this matchup, and I'll dominate you in this last round, walking away with an ace. A round that quite rightfully looked completely in the hands of Tempra. 11 kills there for P4 after he was able to ace that round. And Secret will walk away being completely overtaken on the leaderboard by Tempra. No one predicted this. I don't think any of us had this in our predictions whatsoever, and we might have to go back and look at that. But Des, this has shaken the leaderboard more than I can even put into words.
It still doesn't put them in a spot, I think, where they do finish in top 4, but a win next week could drastically change that. Yeah. And I said it at the moment as well. That messed up 1v1 post plan, that could be the clip that gets put on the R6 events channel here for the unfortunate events to proceed, whatever it was. I can't even say the name anymore. Either way, that could be the moment. Let's keep that one in mind as we go into the end of this week and the end of next week. But for now, let's end out this game and throw it back to the desk.
Thanks so much, guys. We are indeed back.